Hi everyone, you're watching the Haider Rifaat Show and I'm your host Haider Rifaat. Today it's an absolute honor for me to be here with William Moseley. You know him best for his roles in the Chronicles of Narnia and the Royals. Thank you so much, William, for joining me. It's a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Great. Now, William, we know the actor side of you, but many do not know about your family and heritage. So would you like to shed some light on that?
Absolutely. So I'm a country boy. I grew up in the countryside in England, which is known as the Cotswolds. It's South Gloucestershire. My family have been in the valleys, or what we call as the valleys, for I suppose 600 years. So I was really plucked out of obscurity. I went to the village school, and from there I was spotted to be in a TV as an extra in a TV movie for the BBC, and then I was remembered for the Chronicles of Narnia and auditioned for that, and that obviously worked out. But my family heritage does go back a long way, and on my grandmother's side, the side that's based out of Gloucestershire, they were all seafaring people. They were sailors. So my great grandfather, my great grandfather, they were all sea captains. And both my grandfathers fought in World War II. My great grandfather fought in World War I. So although I'm British, I'm a bit of a mix of Irish, Welsh, English. I'm very much based out of the countryside.
I see. Now, William, out of all the professions that you had at a young age, what made you settle specifically on acting? Was it something that you were driven to do at a very young age?
Well, when I was about 10 years old, as I just previously mentioned, they basically there's a story that's written about my area. It's called Cider with Rosie. It's written by a writer called Laurie Lee, and it's all about his experiences growing up as a young boy in the countryside. And they've made a couple of TV movies out of it. And in the 90s, they made another one, which is actually the most recent one. And they just really wanted village kids who looked like Laurie Lee or looked like his family or his friends. So they came round all the villagers in the area, and they put up a bunch of kids, and they had them sort of acting out funny things in the auditions and filmed it. And I just thought it was fun. I just thought, this doesn't seem like a real job. This seems like something that you do almost as a vocation, not a job. And so I just thought then that's what I wanted to do, was acting.
Mm-hmm. Now, initially when you started acting, what were some key challenges that you faced as an actor trying to make it big into the industry? Obviously now you've established yourself, but prior to that, when you look back in hindsight, what were those challenges that a novice faces in this very field? And you would like to share some experience with the viewers as well.
Well, what's interesting? I think one of the toughest challenges for me as an actor was, I started at the top. When you start at the very, very top, you start on a $200 million movie, a $1 billion franchise, basically. And then you finish the franchise and you go, well, what's next? Yeah. And I remember going and living in London in a small flat, and I remember it raining a lot. And I remember just thinking, I didn't want this to be my life, and so I moved to Los Angeles, and and there was sunshine, and there was sea, and there was beaches, and to me, like, when I wasn't working, it was always a bit of a paradise. It was always a bit of a luxury to be there. And so I struggled with that in the beginning, but once I based myself out of LA, my career started to work and everything started to happen. Then I moved back from LA 2 years ago, and now I'm in London, and all is good.
Now, William, you've worked in American and British films, both these industries. So how would you compare and contrast both of these in terms of direction, also in terms of script writing and storytelling, and production-wise? Are there any differences that you cite as an artist?
I've been very fortunate to work on both American productions and on UK productions. I shot a TV show called The Royals, which we filmed in England with an English crew, and I obviously used my English accent. Although it was an American financed production, it was very much a UK based show, really. You know, it was about the royal family, and it was all with an English crew, English cast, and it was a lot of fun. And then I've worked all over America on lots of American productions, and obviously I worked on big Hollywood productions like the Chronicles of Narnia. However, when we shot the Chronicles of Narnia, we didn't shoot that in America. We shot that with the New Zealand crew in New Zealand, and we shot with the second movie we shot with an Eastern European crew, and mostly in Eastern Europe. But the difference really is, it's quite nice working with English people because I'm English. It would be like you know, working with people from Pakistan, you know, like you working with, you know, sort of people who are kind of, you know, close to you, people that you have a shorthand with. And to me, that was a really nice thing about the Royals. You know, I got to sort of leave America and come back to England and work and see my family and be around people who are just very familiar to me. So I loved that part of making the show.
Now, you're widely regarded for your role as Peter in the Chronicles of Narnia. Now, fans want to know, going forward, will we get to see another film materialize from the franchise going forward?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great question, and it's a big fan question. You know, what will be next for the Chronicles of Narnia? Well, Netflix has bought the rights to this, to see all of C.S. Lewis's material, from what I hear. And they have a script written by, I can't remember who wrote it, but I know who's directing it is the guy who directed Captain America. And it's going to be The Silver Chair, which is actually my favorite story. I used to listen to that as a child when I was going to sleep at night. When I was about 10. I would listen to The Silver Chair on an audiobook. So that will be on Netflix. It hasn't gone into production yet, but I'm sure it's a huge undertaking, you know, to bring life to Narnia through the small screen. You know, and I imagine the budget is very, very high, so Netflix probably has to figure out a lot of the intricacies of all of that. But the next film will be The Silver Chair, and Netflix will be making the series from here on out.
That's great news for the fans, actually. Now, William, out of all the films that you've done in the Chronicles of Narnia, the film franchise, which one has been the most fulfilling for you acting-wise, number one? And number two, which fond memory do you still have to this date shooting on the sets of the film?
Well, that's a great question. You know, before I filmed Prince Caspian, I worked with an acting coach in New York for 4 months, very intensively. The production were very kind to actually have me go to acting classes and have me work with a professional acting coach, and I did privates twice a week. I did classes 4 times a week, and we studied the script, we studied the material. So when I went into production, I was ready to go. And it helped, because when you work with a very good acting coach, you work full on, you basically learn to open up different sides of your personality, you know, in order to find your character. And Peter went through a bit of an internal struggle in the second movie, in the fact that he was struggling with his own identity in a lot of ways. And then struggling with the rivalry with Caspian. So we worked on a lot of that. And I really enjoyed the getting into the character and learning about acting on that film. On the first film, it was one of the most incredible experiences in the fact that I was able to ride that horse into battle. I got onto a big set for the first time. I was able to lead a movie when I was very young, and potentially, and I really do feel like I did a great job on that film. You know, I'm very proud of being so young and being able to do what I did. You know, it's quite a feat in a lot of ways, coming from just the middle of the countryside. So there are a lot of beautiful memories from that film, and we were very, very well looked after on that movie. So every experience felt eye-opening. You know, our director was very good about making the experiences as real as possible for us. So a lot of our reactions you see in the film were totally natural, and he was very, very good about that. It's almost a method acting way of working a lot, you know, if you were to break it down, you know. So both those 2 films were fantastic.
Now, The Royals was another great show, and you were fantastic in it. So can we expect its revival anytime soon, or is it like gone for good?
Revival? I wish we could revive The Royals. You know, it's a funny thing with TV. are only in control of so much of it. As big of a star as anybody is, you could have Elizabeth Hurley on the set, you could have, you could have Tom Hanks, but it really is down to what the studio wants and what the network wants. And if they decide that this isn't a good fit for them anymore, then that is just the way things go. I'm very, very proud of the show. To me, I crafted the character in a way that he became very driven. He was very light in the beginning, and he was just trying to get through it. And then his father died, and kind of something shifted inside of him, and he went out to avenge his father's death. His brother came back, sort of took the throne, and there was a lot of internal demons going on for Liam. That I was very lucky that the show's creator, Mark Schwann, wrote for me and played and allowed me to play that character. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I always try to bring as much depth to my character as I possibly can. And I felt like Liam had a lot of depth, by the during the show's arc.
And what did you get to learn from senior actress Elizabeth Hurley when you were shooting the show?
When I was working with Elizabeth Hurley was one of those experiences, that I never really got used to. I was starstruck from the first time I met her. I'm starstruck now when I see her. She is a light, she is an effervescent light that kind of, she's magnetic. You can't take your eyes off her. Whether she'd been an actress or a star, it wouldn't have mattered, because she's just one of those people that carries an energy. And I loved working with her. She's a kind person, and I value her as a friend, truly, and her son Damien. They're like family to me now, and I do anything for them, if they ask at the drop of a hat. So I think somehow my stars aligned to work with her, and that's been one of the highlights of my career.
Now, William, moving forward, in terms of acting, obviously there come a lot of challenges. So still, what kind of a challenge do you still struggle with as an artist, as an actor?
I think the biggest struggle as an actor or an artist is self-confidence. You're constantly under pressure, and you're constantly under scrutiny, and you're constantly under a comparative world, where you are essentially being compared to somebody else, or you could compare yourself to somebody else, or you could put yourself under scrutiny. But you have to be a very committed person and a very strong individual in order to deal with that. A lot of people, that's where they slip up. They could be a brilliant artist, they could work hard, but if they can't handle the mental aspects of being an artist, of the ups and downs of wanting a part and not getting it, and then getting a part and then not being able to work out or something, then it really isn't for them, because it can drive people away from loving what they're doing. Unfortunately for me, I was born with a very happy demeanor. I was born from a child, I've always been a very positive, happy person. So that aspect of it for me has not been as hard as it is for a lot of other people, but still, that's still something that you have to kind of cope with every day, and luckily I'm exercising and running and doing all sorts of things like that keep my mind busy. So I'm fortunate that I've been able to cope with it.
Definitely, that's great. Now, William, what is next for you acting-wise?
Well, that's a really lovely question, because I have a couple of things buzzing around. The things coming out this year, I've heard, are my film Land of Dreams, which is made by the Iranian visual artist Shireen Nishat, written by Jean-Claude Carrier, who recently died, and starring Matt Dillon and myself, as well as a few other brilliant actors and actresses. And then I also, that's coming out this year. And then I also have a film called Medieval that's meant to be coming out this year with Michael Caine and Ben Foster. It's a medieval film set in the 1400s. We shot in the Czech Republic. I have another film coming out called Saving Paradise. It was a film originally Penciltown, but it's sort of a coming of age Americana, It's a Wonderful Life kind of movie. It's a really beautiful story, and I'm the lead in that. And then I'm meant to be making 3 other films in the next couple of months. We're just working out the deals right now, and we're just figuring out exactly which one's going to play where. I've committed to them. I've got a bare knuckle boxing film I've just been offered, which is a true story, and I've got a little horror film in LA that's a really clever script, and another film potentially in Latvia. But all of those are just subject to timings, subject to scheduling, and which one goes where. I'm not sure right now, but it's going to be a busy year, nevertheless.
Yeah. Now, since last year, how has it been for you in terms of shooting on set during the pandemic?
Shooting on set during the pandemic was not easy. I can tell you that much. I shot in New Mexico on Land of Dreams, and we had to be tested every 72 hours, which was not straightforward by any stretch of the imagination. I was nervous a lot, and I was nervous to fly. I was nervous that I was going to have the virus at some point and not be able to work. However, I've been very fortunate, touch wood, that I haven't had coronavirus, and I haven't suffered from it. And actually, we're very fortunate in the UK that they're going to have everybody vaccinated by July. So as long as we can hold on for another couple of months, everybody in this country should be COVID free, by the time we get halfway through the year. So it was tough working on set, but we got through it, and we were, I think, the only production in New Mexico to not have a COVID flare up, which was amazing. And I have to say that was down to this guy called Dylan, who was our COVID officer, and he took really, really good care of us, and he was very on it, and he was strict, which was very, very, very good, actually.
Now, William, which past personal experience has aided in your personal and professional growth? More towards the more personal side, because obviously some experiences demand that you focus on your personal growth. So which experience has that been for you?
That's a very good question, not one I get asked very often. But what's aided me in my personal growth is truly my family. My family have always been there for me. They've always stood behind me. They've always supported me. And no matter how tough things get, I know they're always there. And, that kind of support system is absolutely the grounding force of my life. And, even when I lived in LA, I still felt that support system. And I was lucky in a way that my family did support my dream, did support my career, and they weren't, they didn't put an energy up against it. My father's a cameraman, so he understood what it was to be an actor and, to have ups and downs. And my mother loves acting. And I think maybe when she was young, she wanted to be an actress. So for her, it was sort of a dream that I chose it. And my brother and sister as well are very creative people. So that support system has been the grounding force, like I said, in my life.
Great. Now, William, looking into the future, in the near future, do you plan on getting married soon?
I'm totally up to getting married soon. I've got nothing against it. Marriage is a beautiful part of life, and I think it's a very necessary. Some people are very anti-marriage. My sister doesn't believe in marriage, but I do, and I'd be definitely up for getting married at some point. It's something that I would like to take a natural course and an organic course, as opposed to a predetermined set of rules and age and everything coming into place at the right time. I would like it to have an organic materialization. So yeah, absolutely. And if I do get married, it sounds funny, but I'm quite traditional. But I'd like to get married in the countryside in England, in a little church, and have a little wedding, and that would be fine for me.
Great. And very lastly, William, a message for your fans.
Okay, so a message for my fans. I just wanted to say to everybody out there, thank you very much for your support since I started the Chronicles of Narnia. I'm a person that's quite wild. I'm quite free. I'm unlikely to be put into a box anytime soon. So please just respect the way that I take my career, and please understand that I love to work and I love to do what I do, and hopefully if I do a good job for you, you can feel something from it, and you'll always feel me in my work, no matter what I choose. It will always have depth, it will always have emotion, it will always have heart, and it will always have my essence and my spirit. And that's really all I can offer. You know, I'll do lots of different projects, lots of different things, but my spirit will always be in my work. And if you like watching me as an actor, then you'll feel that spirit coming through. And I'm very easy to reach out to as well. You know, I've been doing cameos for charity over the last couple of months, the last month and a half, and so far we've almost raised $10,000 for 2 charities that are close to my heart. So if you'd like a shout out, the money will go to helping children in the hospital that I was born in, and it will also go to another charity that's brilliant as well. So I just thought I'd share that.
Which charity is that, William? Would you like to mention that?
Well, it's called the Pied Piper Appeal. It's called the Pied Piper Appeal, and it helps children who are disadvantaged. And it's in the hospital that I was born in. So it's very close to my heart. It's in Gloucester Hospital. And the other charity is Sarah's Trust. The Duchess of York has a charity that helps children as well. And they asked me if I would like to contribute to their charity. And I said I absolutely would, because I know them and I wanted to do that as well.
Great. Thank you so much, William, for taking out time for this interview.
Thank you very much, Hayden. I'm very sorry for the delay this morning.
Not at all. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. That is all for now. Stay tuned for more on my official YouTube channel and Facebook page. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.